welcome everybody. We're going to play some Trail of Cthulhu. We will be playing the scenario from the quick start for the second edition of Trail of Cthulhu that Mark and I were just discussing. Will be coming out, we believe, in October. Some of us have already backed it and are waiting impatiently for it. And but yeah, so if you are interested, don't look at the quick start. Just enjoy it with us. If you want to play the quick start with me at some point in the future, still watch, because it'll still be fun. Stay here and watch and see what we're doing. So we begin in Rhode Island, specifically at a portion southwest of the city of Newport, Rhode Island, in an area known as Brenton Point. Brenton Point is an affluent community. There are a lot of beach houses and bungalows along the various beaches. Newport, Rhode Island itself is known for its yachting community, and even in the year 1931, which we are currently in. And we have several individuals who are going to find themselves coming together at a beach house along the shore of Brenton Point. The first person that we will run into is... No, that's not what I want to show. There we go. Dr. Joseph Warburton, played tonight by Trousers. Dr. Warburton has been called to this beach house, which is currently being inhabited by a family, and unfortunately their children are unwell and seem to be suffering from something that the people need help with. And Dr. Warburton, being a local doctor, has been called upon to come try to help. Aside from Dr. Warburton, we will also be meeting James Jimmy Kenny, played tonight by Britt, who is on vacation. He's a private detective, a bit down on his luck, but he came into some money off of a case recently and decided to take a bit of a vacation away from his much beloved city of Boston. And so he booked a bungalow along the beach and arrived recently to find not exactly what he expected. Also showing up on the scene, we will have Sir Alistair Simerson, played tonight by Strain, an English gentleman, as denoted by the Sir, wealthy, interested in the finer things, but also with a bit of a taste for adventure. Alistair is actually in town because not too long ago he heard tell of a shipment of art and expensive goods that were stolen from a particular gallery in England. And he quickly hopped on a flight to New England to try to see if he could find out more about these rapscallions that have gotten away with some pretty interesting objects d'art, in addition to some objects that Alistair taken a personal interest in of a more esoteric nature, at least so he's heard. After Alistair, another interesting figure that will be seen on the scene is Virgil Mudd. Virgil is somehow even more down on his luck than Jimmy Kenny is. Virgil is, for all intents and purposes, a man without a home, a man without a job. He looks after himself. and he has been drawn to the area upon hearing that there's the possibility of a man he's been looking for, a Sam Willett, a seaman, who might be in this area. Sam took something from Virgil, and in doing so left Virgil bloody. And Virgil is not one to let something like that go. So he's been looking for Sam to take his revenge. And finally tonight we have Zeev Ehrlich. Zeev is an archaeologist, recently back in country from time spent in the Middle East on various dig sites. He received a telegram from an old friend of his complaining about strange things happening in and around their beach house in Newport. And so, always concerned for his friends, but also interested in the description of strange blue lights, he decided to hop a flight back home and visit his friends in Newport to see what was going on. So, all of you, for various reasons, find yourself approaching the beach house. It's large, essentially a mansion. It is, if you look at the map, let's go back to that real quick. About here, slightly north and west of the circled area, which is the technical Brenton Point. That will also become important later. I need to make that scene available to you guys whenever you want to pop back to it. There we go. And so yeah, you're all approaching the beach house. Some of you might be in vehicles. I'm sure Alistair has probably rented a vehicle for his time in town. I would imagine the doctor probably has a vehicle. He's well off enough to have such. Jimmy probably has some beat up old vehicle, or possibly even a motorcycle that he's ridden down from Boston. Virgil, not so much. But how do you all arrive at this house? There's a large drive. Would be on the other side of what you can see in the picture. This side is more the rear of the house, facing the bluffs and then the beach and the sea. But on this large drive, how do you all arrive, and how do you engage with each other? Or do you engage with each other as you approach the doors?
So, just a quick question before we go.
Absolutely.
We're set in the 30s.
Correct.
Is it pre-1933's Prohibition or after 1933's Prohibition?
Oh, it's pre. It's 1931.
1931.
But it's still illegal to drink.
In moderation, of course. I guess I can So do I know who actually is renting this place? Who's actually called me out?
Yes. So you were called by a servant, essentially, in their stead of representing the family that's staying. The family doesn't actually own the house; they're just staying in the house. But you know that you're coming to meet with the Grissom family, specifically William Grissom, the patriarch, the father.
Does that mean that the servants, are they part of the house, or have they come along with the family?
They're part of the house. They are essentially hired along with the house.
Okay.
So we're going to be guests of that house.
Well, that's what's interesting for Jimmy. So, Jimmy, you rented a bungalow, probably no more than like 1 or 2 rooms. You rented a bungalow on the beach, and this is the address that you were given. This is not what you rented.
To pick the keys up, maybe.
Maybe. you do have horribly bad luck, so it's possible that something else might have happened.
I'm assuming we don't like all turn up like in some kind of.
I would say
the car at the same drive at the same time.
I would say that's up to you. We will say that it's probably late afternoon. We'll call it a Friday, and how you arrive will be up to you. Do you want to arrive relatively close to each other? Do you all want to engage in this location separately? You all have reason to come, except for maybe Virgil, but perhaps Virgil has heard that the people in this house might be, well...
I was thinking one of the...
He waits until the gate's open for someone else and then just runs in after them.
Yeah, I think Virgil's here because he's been told by somebody in town that one of the servants knew Sam Willett.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Can I be there already as well in my Model A Ford, my banged up car, sat in the car, drinking something from a brown paper bag?
Okay. Yeah.
So Alistair will probably be driving along in his rented car. There is a leather golf bag in the back with a selection of golf clubs ready to play golf while he's here as well. He will probably be driving along rather too fast for the roads here, although he's enjoying the fact that he can drive rather too fast. Maybe one of the others is walking along straight in the road and there's a beeping on the horn as he goes racing past, heading directly to the house.
I think it will be Virgil, yeah.
Yes, so so he goes past rather too fast. Then there may be a slight state of inebriation in Alistair's demeanour. He still hasn't got used to this whole... I mean, how did anyone not go without champagne in the afternoon? It's diabolical. And cocktails, I mean, prohibition. It's the most terrible thing that's ever happened on this trip.
I should point out for Alistair's sake that probably the reason Alistair would be coming to this house is you would have learned upon arriving in Rhode Island and doing some research, greasing some wheels and speaking to some people, that William Grissom is actually one of the major representatives of the Port Authority. And you're fairly certain that the ship that absconded with all of these artifacts would have to come in through the Port Authority in some way. So you've learned that a wealthy man is summering here, and probably a good place to start asking questions and learning more about this ship.
And I'll pull up outside the house.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping out and walking towards the door.
So Jimmy then would see this wealthy man drive up in a very clean car.
A lot cleaner than mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just watch him go up to the house. I don't get out of the car just yet. I'm just taking a few more swigs from my bottle.
So a servant actually opens the door before you reach it, Strain. And it is a young girl, probably no older than 19. Clearly, though, dressed as a servant. And she opens the door and says, are you with the doctor?
Good afternoon. I'm here to see Mr. Grissom. My father, Lord James Edward Simerson, has written and said I might be visiting today. Where is the old boy? Have you got someone to get my bags, please? And my golf clubs, and I've got a couple of suitcases in there. That'd be wonderful. This is a lovely place.
Are you blustering your way past her?
Absolutely, yes. It's normally just going to walk in. Oh, this is fantastic. The decor, it is so colonial. Colonial indeed.
As you obviously not force your way in, but just through sheer bluster and bravado, walk past her in. You see a taller man, also dressed as a servant, come into the hall and say, look at the girl and say, Eleanor, who is this man?
I'm Sir Alistair Simerson. My father wrote to Mr. Grissom, said I'd be visiting today. Oh, this is a magnificent place, sir.
Well,
where is Mr. Grissom?
You must.
Oh, I'll take off my hat. My hat, sir. Thank you.
He takes your hat. You must excuse me, Sir Simerson. I wasn't aware of such a thing, but
it's a drawing room. Huh. You have a drawing room. Oh, marvelous.
But Mr. Grissom is in his office in the rear of the house.
Oh, well, I'm sure you'll need to let him know I'm here, and please do. I'm sure he well received my father's letter.
So, yeah, he leaves you to the drawing room, which is, very well appointed, lots of leather, obviously, mahogany. There is a full bar sitting there. And,
kind of look.
And yeah, he runs off to the rear of the house. So, what's everybody else doing?
I will arrive at a moderate and safe speed for the conditions, unlike other people, and then I will pull my vehicle onto the driveway. I'm going to this in my would it be a Studebaker?
Okay.
I do a lot of driving in my role, so I like to be comfortable when I drive. But a nice reliable American car.
And you see a very posh looking, some probably not even like a stock model, some kind of almost hot rod-esque vehicle, possibly a modified sedan of some sort, maybe a Willys 77. You're not sure, but yeah, showing up in your Studebaker, you find plenty of space on the driveway, and you see that the front door is actually still open, and a young girl is in servant's clothing, is in the process of closing the door.
Excuse me, miss. Excuse me. Dr. Warburton. I was called to this house.
Oh yes, Dr. Warburton, please come in.
I believe you have some children in distress.
Yes, particularly young Eustace he's saying the strangest things. But yes, unfortunately, we weren't able to contact anyone. There's no, what did they call it? A psychologist? But the local doctor, he's not hurt. You understand?
I do not put much truck by that Jewish medicine. I'm afraid.
The taller man shows back up. And he says, yes, sir, if you could, please come with me. I'll take you to the drawing room where we are apparently collecting people to speak with Mr. Grissom.
There are other guests here? Other visitors?
Yes, an Englishman. A sir, no less, a knight. But
well,
I'm sure you will be able to speak quite happily with him.
I'm here for the children.
Indeed. So yeah, what's James doing? What's Zeev doing?
I imagine Zeev gonna reach the airport. Flying Middle East to somewhere in Europe, and then probably catching a Pan Am flight over to the U.S. And at the airport,
stops, the red line going from stop to stop.
Eventually I get to the airport, and I am looking for somebody with a small chalkboard that says my name on it. No doubt they had a car waiting for me to take me to the estate.
There is no such chalkboard. Now, the telegram didn't explicitly ask you to come. It was more just strange things happening, wondering about your thoughts. Maybe in your haste, you booked travel without realizing that perhaps a return telegram would have been enough. But still, you're here. Your old friend William is in need of assistance.
Well, I suppose I'll go and I'll try to hire a horse somewhere. I'll, take my little coiled up whip out of my, suitcase and make sure that's hanging by my belt suitably. Right. I have my hat on, and I'm going to try to procure transportation in the form of a horse. And then, obviously get directions.
So yeah, the person at whatever desk you go to is like, we don't have horses, sir. We do have vehicles now.
Camels? Any camels, perhaps?
No, a car. Would you like a car, sir?
A vehicle, yes. Well, that'll just have to do then.
Do you need a driver, or will you be driving yourself?
I can drive myself. Yes, I can drive myself for sure.
What is your credit rating? Lower left-hand corner of your sheet.
Right away. Credit rating is
4. That's not bad.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like a 4.
Yeah. So you're able to get a decent vehicle. You're not relegated to anything so terrible as a Model T at this point. Still an amazing feat of engineering, but vehicles have been improving relatively quickly. And so they offer you a, let's say, not quite the right time, but let's say an REO Speedwagon.
Okay, very nice.
That's what they have available. Unfortunately, it's more of like a delivery truck, but it's certainly something you should be able to handle.
Oh, excellent. Should I find any archaeological finds on the way, I'll be able to transport them with no trouble, something like this.
Sure.
I was this close to finding the Ark, and then I was called away. I'll catch the trail again.
Are you a Kentucky Ehrlich instead of Zev? So yeah, you managed to procure a vehicle and an atlas, and find that it's a bit of a drive, but that drive is going to put you at the Grissom's house probably right about the time everybody else is arriving. So you already see as you drive up a couple of vehicles parked out front. There's a battered old Model T that looks like somebody has been working very hard to keep it together. But then a very nice, newer looking streamlined vehicle, as well as just a trusty Studebaker. Perhaps you also pass by someone now closer, walking along the road towards the Grissom house.
Well, I'll stop and offer him a lift.
Oh.
Excuse me, sir. You look like you're from around this area. Are you familiar with the Grissom residence?
I'm afraid I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well then, is it like a ride down the road? I've got to find somebody who knows which house it is.
I would appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir.
Sure. Hop on in. What's your name?
Mud. And I offer my hand.
Oh, I think very, very nice to meet you. I am Dr. Zev Ehrlich. Perhaps you've heard of me.
Sadly not.
Oh, okay. Well, no matter. I'm just looking for, the most important historical artifacts in the entire world.
So it's not long as you're having this conversation, you do see a quite large mansion on your left as you drive down the road. And that happens to be the mansion that Virgil was heading towards, where you've learned that one of the staff at the mansion might be aware of this man's location. Probably about 15, 20 minutes more, and you reach that location. Would be a good place to learn of where the Grissom house is as well.
Yes. Perhaps you can ask one of your friends if this is where I'm to drop you off, which is the Grissom's residence. I've been traveling a very long time, and I'm afraid I need to retire for the evening to catch up some well-needed rest. I've been traveling for the past 36 hours.
I'm sorry, sir. What was that you were saying?
Perhaps you could ask your friend there where the Grissom residence is. I'm quite knackered, and I require some rest after a 36-hour travel schedule.
Who is he pointing to when he says "ask your friend there"? Who is he pointing to?
You said you had me stop off because you're going in there. So while you're stopping, I need to find directions to the Grissom house. Unless I misunderstood. Sir, did you just not have
familiar with the occupants of this house, sir? I'm merely a traveler in this area.
Very well. I will.
I'm gonna get out of the car because this guy's weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of the car because this guy's weird, is what I'm thinking, and go up and ask myself.
Fair enough.
Clearly, he's having trouble with the English language.
So Zev is going up to the front door, I would assume. Is Mud also going up to the front door?
Mud is going to go around to the back because there'll be like a servant's entrance, I would assume.
Absolutely.
What a strange gentleman.
Thank you for the lift, sir.
Top of the day to you.
All right. So Zev the door opens for Zev after you knock, and you see again the young girl, and she's like, "Oh, so many people. Are you here for Mr. Grissom as well?"
Well, that's a happy coincidence. I was actually here to ask where the Grissom residence was, but Dr. Zev Ehrlich here. I apologize for the imposition. It's been 36 hours of travel through the Middle East and Europe and now to America, and you'd think I'd be used to it by now, but it is quite tiring. If you don't mind to show me to my room, I'll rest up before I.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't know about a room being prepared for you, but I have heard Mr. Grissom speak of a Dr. Ehrlich. One moment, and she runs off and leaves the door open. About this time, I would say that Virgil can easily find what's clearly a servant's entrance. Do you give it a knock?
I certainly do, yeah.
So an older woman opens the door. Heavy set, looks like probably a sturdy maid or possibly a cook of some kind. Yeah.
Okay. So does Virgil have a name for this person that he's looking for, or is it going to be Eleanor, the younger? I assume it's not the younger girl. It'll probably be the older one.
No. The name you've been given is Margaret.
Oh. So he takes his hat off very politely, of course, and holding it to his chest there. Excuse me, ma'am. I was wondering if you could possibly spare a glass of water.
So she looks you up and down, and she's like, "Don't get many people looking for glasses of water out these ways, but it shouldn't hurt none. Come on in."
Thank you, ma'am.
And then she leads you to a small kind of like side kitchen, draws a glass for you.
I was wondering if perhaps you knew a young lady named Margaret.
Oh, well, dear. I'm not quite so young anymore, but I'm Margaret.
Oh, Margaret, pleasure to meet you. There was the gentleman that owns the bar in town. He explained that you might have known Samuel Willett.
Sam Willett. Yeah, he's one of the seamen on the Bell, right?
I'm quite likely, yes. I do believe he was a sailor. He was an old friend of mine, and I was looking for him. I was hoping you might be able to tell me where I could find him.
Well, I've not seen Sam Willett for a while. Last I saw him was a few months ago, which would have been about when you were had your altercation with Willett.
Okay.
He put out to sea. Last I heard, hadn't been back yet. Although the Bell, well, surely you've heard about the Bell. And we'll leave you there.
Okay.
And we're gonna hop over then to.
No idea what accent I'm doing, by the way.
That's fine. We're gonna hop.
It's a
back
mighty
over
fine
to-
southern one, sir. Mighty fine.
to
That's what I was
Zeb
going
being
for.
led into the drawing room with Alistair and Dr. Warburton. You see these two men. Maybe they're having conversation with each other. What's Jimmy doing? Is he still chilling out in his car?
He's wiping the tears from his eyes. He's not really been paying attention to who's been going up to the house. He's a bit off cut. And then he looks at his wedding ring, and then he attacks his steering wheel in his car, checks it violently, gets out of the car, pours what's in the bottle in the brown bag onto the gravel floor, and then just tosses it away, takes his ring off and throws it as far as he can into some bushes, and then goes to the trunk of his car, opens up a suitcase, rummages through and finds his holster and his gun, and he takes his gun out, and he's just stood there for maybe for like 30 seconds thinking, and then he puts the gun back in the holster, and he walks towards the house.
So, I think as you're looking at Tessa and considering, the sun is setting, right? It's late afternoon as everybody was arriving. The sky is getting darker, and you can see, as you kind of glance around, some odd blue lights in the sky. They're faint. You can only really see them because the sun is beginning to set, but they look like fireflies. And as you notice them, maybe, but as you notice them, as you are looking up, maybe as you then begin to glance down at the house, you can see in the window, one of the windows of this large house, what appears to be a young boy also looking out and up at the sky.
So they're not fireflies. That's what I thought they were.
No.
Are they far off? Like far
They're
away?
pretty high up, and you see them kind of almost dancing around in the sky for a few moments before they then fly back south, maintaining fairly decent altitude. You're pretty certain that they're not birds, because they were glowing.
The alcohol was good alcohol. I'll just scratch my head and I'll turn and I'll walk towards the house.
Okay.
I've got to find. I need to find this bungalow, don't I? So maybe they've got the keys. So I'll go and bang on the door.
So the tall gentleman opens the door this time, and he says, "Yes."
I've I've got a bungalow rented in the name of Kenny. This is the address. Are there some keys to collect?
Sir, there's no bungalows here. This is a...
I can see there's no bungalow here. I'm renting a bungalow. I presume it's from you?
Bungalows? Where did you... I don't understand. Where did
Neither do I.
This bungalow?
So how have I come to this location then? Has somebody given me directions, or have I followed the map, or?
So yeah, you basically you sent the payment in advance. You found an advertisement, right, for this renting this bungalow, and you've sent the payment in advance off, and were given in return sent a letter or a postcard with an address and all this stuff on it, saying that
somebody's conned the private eye.
Yeah.
Oh.
And maybe you're just now realizing that, yeah, your luck continues to be awful. Somebody has conned you out of, a week's rent at a bungalow.
Do you rent rooms here?
No, sir, we don't. May I ask, I don't know, are you perhaps looking for a job, or I don't know what
I'm always looking for a job, friend. I'm a private eye.
So at that he stops. He says, "You're an investigator."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't find his bungalow.
That's my trade. When I get back to Boston, I'll be finding the person that sold me this holiday.
Right. Yeah, because you're out a couple of $100. It's a lot.
Just threw that ring away.
Right. So he says, he seems interested when you mention that you're a private detective, and he says, well, we don't have a job per se, but I don't know, would you mind coming in and speaking to the current tenant? He might have use for you.
Yeah, sure. I'm at a loose end now, so yeah.
So yeah, he leads you into the wardroom where everyone else is kind of chilling out. Are you all having discussion? The archaeologist, the dilettante, and the doctor?
So I came across searching for many great things, and I mean, how do you guys cope with this prohibition? I mean, I've already had at least 6 glasses of champagne by now at this time of day. Oh, and we're out clubbing tonight. I got my golf clubs though. I got a few holes in here.
Alcohol kills the senses, and it is used to fuel the coffers of the underworld, and there are men who will spend their hard-earned money on the alcohol and instead of food for their children and beat their wives. And they cannot control it. The working class, they really cannot control their vices.
Now, I will remind you...
Absolutely, the working class are terrible. Absolutely terrible. They should be taken out at some point and shot. No offense to any of the servants here. I'm sure they do a great job. The champagne, though, is fantastic.
I think Kenny gets brought into the room at this point, possibly after the statement about the servants by the tall man. And I will point out to you, I did mention earlier, and this is true, there is a fully stocked bar in this drawing room.
It was fully stocked before Alistair.
Well, it was fully stocked before Alistair got there, but... And again,
it has a glass of brandy in his hands.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, don't mind if I do. You understand the Arab cultures where I frequently have to go for work. Alcohol is frowned upon there, so this is quite a treat for me, I'll have to say.
Really? Last time I was in Cairo, it was absolutely easy to get a drink. Oh, I guess all the restaurants do it, all the clubs. Oh, fantastic.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm stuck hunting for valuable treasures, amongst the tribes and the smaller villages, places of archaeological interest, and they tend to be very religious in those small little pedestrian communities.
I guess those areas they're rife with disease and poverty down there. I think the water you can't trust the water. There's dysentery and diarrhea and kids just dying on the streets. What I heard.
Oh, indeed. And that's why you should always drink the brandy. The brandy is far better for you than the water. I mean, this is brandy.
So, leaving the men in conversation, still awaiting from Mr. Grissom, I think we'll pop back over into the small kitchen where Margaret was going to mention something about the bell.
Yes.
As she does that, or begins to, a large man comes into the room. He's 6'4", probably 3 feet wide at least. He looks like he probably at some point played some rugby or something like that in university. Very large, athletic man who's maybe gone to seed a bit.
But he's staff, right?
No, he is wearing a smart suit, and he pops his head in and says, Margaret, we have more company, apparently. And she says, Mr. Grissom, I'm sorry, this man was just knocking on our door looking for a drink of water.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. William
please
Grissom.
forgive my intrusion. Virgil Mudd is my name. I don't know if I would offer my hand to shake, because obviously he's a bit of a posh knob, and I'm just a vagrant, right?
So
I'm gonna extend my hand anyway.
Okay.
And see whether he takes it.
So you extend your hand. He actually takes a step closer to you.
No.
I don't know how large you imagine Virgil to be, so maybe he doesn't tower over you. That's your call.
Yeah, I mean, he's average height, I think, Virgil.
Okay. So he takes a step closer to you and does extend his hand. He says, Mr. Mudd, William Grissom.
Pleasure to meet you, sir. As the young lady has just pointed out, I have merely stopped for a glass of water.
Oh, well, quite turning out to be quite a party in the other room. If you're interested in more than that, you're more than welcome. He does kind of look you up and down a bit, but he doesn't seem terribly offended by your presence.
Oh, okay. Well, never one to pass up a gift horse, right? Well, that's mighty kind of you, sir. But if I may, just speak with your cook, Margaret, here just for a moment.
Of course, Margaret. When you've had your word with Mr. Mudd here, if you could show him into the drawing room and bring some cakes, something. I don't know. He doesn't seem very aware of like what the proper thing to do would be with a large group of people.
Oh, okay.
And then he steps back out, kind of ducks under the door frame because it is a slightly smaller door in the servants' areas, and heads over to the drawing room. What do you want to talk to her about before?
It's the bell. She was going to tell me about the bell.
Yeah.
So I was kind of hoping to finish that conversation, but I will say, a fine and generous man, Mr. Grissom.
Yeah, they've only been here for a few weeks, but he definitely seems that way. All of the staff seem to love him and his family very much, and he's been pleasant with all of us.
You were going to tell me about the bell and My friend, Sam Willett.
Oh, yes. The bell, well, surely you've heard about the wreck, and you have,
Oh, okay.
because you live in the area. You've heard people talking about it, and possibly even saw the newspaper clipping, which I will show you right now.
Yeah. Slept under the newspaper clipping, perhaps.
Maybe you did. So a couple of months ago, there was a wreck on pretty much on Brenton Point, like right where on the main map the circled area is. And this freighter, kind of a ocean-going tug freighter, had been converted. Metal ship, not a wood ship. Well, here's where it gets weird. It didn't break up. It somehow, people are saying by some kind of freak wave, drove up on these massive rocks, quite high above the waterline. And several people died. 4 of the crew are presumed drowned, and at least 2 of the crew are still missing.
Does it mention names, or did it mention names in the article? So is Sam Willett one of the names, or is he not mentioned at all in the article?
So he's not mentioned in the article,
Okay.
But Margaret says that she knows that Sam was on that ship. He mustered out with it a couple of months ago. So
Okay.
unless he stayed in England, then he would still be on the ship. Or
And
would
that
have
is,
been, I should say.
Potentially disappointing news.
But then she also says, but I think I've heard some people say that his brother has been seen in that area looking for him.
His brother.
Mm-hmm. Thomas.
Oh, that is interesting. And perhaps I shall endeavor to find the man. And I drain the glass. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, happy to. If you'll join us, and she's been the whole time putting together this tray of like little hand snacks and sandwiches and things like that.
Perhaps I could carry that for you.
Oh, well, that's mighty nice of you. And she hands you the tray.
Okay. And I'll let her lead the way.
All right. So before you and Margaret enter the drawing room, we'll say that William does. Obviously, Zev has met William and knows how big he is. He definitely was very athletic at your time at university with him. And he enters the room, not having to stoop, thankfully, in this part of the house, not even having to turn sideways because it is a double door that opens into the drawing room. And he says, gentlemen, pardon the wait.
Mr. Grissom, I believe your son is in some distress, and I've been called out to see him.
Oh, indeed, yes, Doctor. I'll take you up to see Eustace here in a moment. He doesn't appear to have any health issues.
Well,
It's
I
more
think
a matter of his mind.
that will be for me to judge, sir, as the doctor.
But very well, you are a doctor. If
I may
you'd like,
well
I
ask
can-
some questions about his diet, his exercise, and company he's been keeping. But let me first carry out a cursory examination of the child, and then I will be able to ask you questions later.
Well, very well. So he actually reaches over and pulls a rope near the door, rings a bell, and Eleanor comes running in and says, yes, sir. If you'd show the doctor up to Eustace's room, I believe he's still awake. Unless you want to wait. Asking you, Trousers.
Me? No, I mean, he's paying for my...
It's going away.
It's a spotty internet there, but
So,
Billy, it's wonderful to see you. Oh, so sorry to hear about Eustace. I hope everything is okay. Oh, been a long travel, but wonderful to see you. You look fantastic.
you look good too, my man. He steps up to you and he looks like he's coming to give you a hug.
I'm full embrace. Good man.
Okay.
This man. He's helped finance some of my escapades too. I imagine. Which is why
Possibly.
I've left something very important, such as, West for the Ark to come see him.
Right. So yeah, he envelops you in an embrace and says, "It's been years. I didn't expect you to come so quickly. I thought you were just going to possibly ask some more questions, or maybe, but I'm happy you're here."
Of course, a friend in need is a friend indeed, and you are a friend indeed. So I came as soon as I heard, as soon as I could. Plus, there was that little issue. I needed to let things cool down in the area I was at for a bit. Certain things may have transpired. Some antiquities might have been removed from certain places, and it was just good all around for me to leave the situation I was in to come here for a bit anyways before I proceed on my travels.
So he looks over at Jimmy and Alistair, and he says, "Now, you two gentlemen I'm not familiar with." And he looks over you both for a second, and then turns to look at Alistair directly and says, "You must be Sir Simerson."
So Alistair Simerson, yes, my father wrote to you, said I'll be visiting today. Lovely to meet you, Mr. Grissom. Fantastic. I've heard so much about you.
Well,
I'm sorry to hear that your son is poorly now. I hope it's nothing too bad. I remember as a child hearing the stories of the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic. Oh, it was terrible. Hope it's nothing like that here.
Oh, you don't think it could be, do you?
Oh, no.
Dr. Warburton?
Modern medical science has sorted that out, I'm afraid, Mr. Grissom. In this fine civilized country of yours.
I must
New
admit,
world.
It was actually first detected in America and close to a pig farm.
I must admit, sir, I've not received a letter from your father. Perhaps you traveled too quickly. However, you're more than welcome. I understand you have some questions.
Yes. Many questions. I have also come to try out the golf course. It's supposed to be quite a good course.
Quite so.
See to your son though first. I mean, I can wait.
So he turns to Jimmy, and he says, "And my man tells me that you're a detective."
That is right, sir. Yes, I'm polishing off a second black coffee.
I'm happy to see all you gentlemen here for various reasons. Doctor, if you would go with young Miss Eleanor here, she'll show you up to Eustace's room. It is getting late in the day, and there's plenty of space here. It's just myself, Mary, my wife, and our son Eustace. So we have plenty of rooms if I can make all of you comfortable.
Dinner would be lovely. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Do you have a telephone, sir? I'll need to let my Gussie know if I am to be stopping out overnight.
Of course, I'll have Eleanor stop and show you where the phone is on your way or on your way back.
Thanks.
And so at that point, I would imagine Virgil and Margaret appear with the cakes and sandwiches. We had already had dinner. I apologize to say, Sir Simerson, but I've had Margaret put together something palatable for everyone here.
I'll set them down on a nearby table or something.
My good one, sir. I asked you if you knew where the Grisham house was. You said no, and apparently you work here.
Yeah, I ignore him.
My word. How rude. And after I stopped to give him a lift, saved him a good 15, 20 minutes of foot travel.
All right, so we'll have you guys, think about what you're doing and maybe tuck into some food while Dr. Warburton gets taken up to Eustace's room. So yeah, Eleanor takes you up. She points out the phone as you go if you wanted to make a quick call to your wife to let her know. If you even decide to stay the evening. I mean, there's...
Well, let's see how the inspection goes, shall we?
Sure. So she leads you up to his room and opens the door, and there's no lights on in this room. This home does have electricity. It is one of the growing number of beach homes that have electricity in this somewhat more remote area of Newport. Obviously, only the more expensive homes do, but it does have electricity. However, all the lights in Eustace's room are off, and you can see the boy silhouetted against the window, looking out into the growing darkness as you enter the room. Plenty of light from behind you in the hall, though, for you to navigate the room. It's not like it's pitch dark.
Well, hello there, Eustace.
He turns around and, you see him flinch a little bit, even at the light to the hall behind you, and says, "Oh, can you close the doors, please, sir?"
Absolutely, sure. My name is Dr. Warburton, and apparently you're not feeling too well.
No, sir. I feel okay. So moving close to him.
Some what we call light sensitivity from the light there. Do you have a sore head at all?
No, sir. I don't know. I feel a bit itchy, I guess.
Itchy.
So you notice as you approach him, he does have what appear to be some lesions forming. They're not horrible, but they look like irregular, kind of rough red spots on his skin, particularly on his hands and forearms, but also kind of around the neck.
Well, how'd you come by these, boy?
I don't know. I was just throwing rocks down at the wreck.
These are from rocks, from rope, from...
I was just picking up rocks and stuff and throwing them at the wreck, and then I saw some blue lights, and now they're following me here, and I can hear it moving around at night. And he starts just kind of gibbering and raving about
no, boy,
some figure.
Okay. May I have a look? May I see some of these? Okay. So yeah, I'm going to inspect them, see what the cause would be.
Okay. Would you like to leverage any particular investigative ability?
Is it health kind of thing, or first aid? That's not first. I mean, first aid is like recognizing wounds and.
Is medicine still a thing in second edition?
Yeah, medicine, biology.
Yeah,
lots of things.
I mean, weirdly, I haven't got medicine. Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. Just not very many.
Okay,
yes,
so
it's a charlatan.
Levering your knowledge about medicine.
My athletics is 6 out of 6, though. So come on.
Right. Levering your knowledge about medicine, you get the sense pretty quickly that this is. It's interesting because it's kind of a new thing. So you've been reading some medical journals and hearing about some experiments that people are doing in different parts of the scientific community. Obviously, being a doctor, you're not solely interested in medicine. That is your focus, but you look at a lot of other things as well. And and you spent a point, so you didn't need to do that, but now I'll give you more. So you're looking into a lot of different things in your spare time. You're fairly certain, like with a high degree of certainty that this boy is suffering from a minor case of what some people in some of the scientific journals are now referring to as radiation poisoning.
Oh.
Now, it's a relatively minor case from what you can tell based on the, he doesn't have like any open lesions. They're more just like, the best way to describe them would be possibly first, maybe on his hands, second-degree burns, but they look to be healing. He doesn't look particularly sick. If you ask him if he has had any bouts of vomiting or anything like that, he tells you that he did when he came home the last time he was down on the beach throwing rocks at the wreck, but that has since subsided. So he looks like he's probably in the clear.
Okay.
But definitely based on that point spend, that like he must have interacted with something potentially radioactive down on the beach near the wreck.
Do you know of anyone else who plays down by that wreck, Eustace?
Oh no! I saw a creepy old man walking around the wreck, up on the rocks. I was down on the beach, but he was up on the rocks, and he looked creepy. He looked kind of like skinny sick. He doesn't really know how to describe it. He's a kid.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay. Now you stay away from that wreck in the future, okay? Because I think what's down there is poisoning you. Okay. I think there's something nasty down there, which has made you sick.
Okay.
So you eat lots of vegetables, get your vitamins up, get some fresh air. But don't go back down there again.
Okay.
Is the light sensitivity also like a symptom?
It can be.
It can be. Okay, fine. My amazing roll. Fine. You just rest up now and get some sleep, and now I'll go and talk to her daddy.
Okay. So back down in the why do I keep forgetting the name of the room you're in? The drawing room. I keep wanting to call it a den. It might be kind of that too. So back down in the drawing room, some sandwiches, drinks. Obviously coffee is available, but there, like I said, the bar is definitely there. And William has told all of you kind of in his own way, that his son came home from the beach and was sick. That's why he called on the doctor. But he's also talks about the fact that there have been weird lights seen around the house ever since that day, a couple of days ago. And
was it your son I saw earlier when I was outside? I saw a boy. Was that his son looking at the things?
Oh, I can't imagine who else's son it would be. It's just like I said, it's the three of us here, my son and my wife and I.
I saw the lights myself.
You saw the lights?
Yeah, your son was looking at them as well through the window.
Oh yeah, he's been talking about them quite a bit. In fact, he's also said that he's heard something prowling around the house, and I didn't believe him at first. That's why I called for a doctor. But just last night, I think I saw it.
It?
Well, him, her, a prowler. Now it seems like he's kind of hedging a little bit.
Mm-hmm. How long have the lights been a thing?
Ever since my son came back home sick a couple of days ago. Does anybody want to make an oral history spend? except for Alistair, because Alistair is not from here.
I'll make that spend.
And okay. Yeah, I mean you've been out of country, but I'll still allow it because you've it's possible you might have heard something. Okay, so with an oral history spend, you know that people have spoken of lights in the sky before in this area. Sometimes science has not yet really understood St. Elmo's fire, so it could be that. But you've heard people talk about it before. You haven't seen these lights, but you know that strange things happen, particularly when strange events happen. You've definitely seen enough strange things overseas, particularly with your job as an archaeologist, that you don't know that that's necessarily unbelievable, right? And although Grissom hasn't seen the lights himself, it's clear that this man James has, and the boy keeps talking about them as well.
Pardon me for interrupting, but have you seen these things on the property, sir? I'll be looking at James, perhaps, when I say, because Grissom hasn't seen them, has he? But James apparently has.
Yep.
They were off to the south, high up in the sky, really high up in the sky. I thought it were my eyes playing up a bit.
Well, they were actually kind of dancing above the property, and then they headed south.
All right, I will say that. I thought they were flies at first.
Mr. Grissom, you claim you have seen a presence here.
Well, I saw something last night outside, prowling around the grounds. I was going to potentially go into town and get some protection for myself and my family.
Wasn't a vagrant or a hobo, was it, prowling around your property?
So Grissom actually very quickly looks over at Virgil, not in a mean way.
Yeah.
More like a I'm sorry way. But then he says, no, it wasn't. And so all of you are getting kind of the sense that he's not saying something.
Could I speak to your son after the doctor's spoken to him, sir?
If you think that would help, I'm not opposed to it.
Well, I mean, if we're going to assume that there are lights above in the sky, I mean, there has to be a reason for it. So if there's anything unusual on the property that you've noticed lately, I mean, I know you've only been here a few weeks yourself, but is this perhaps why the previous residents left? Was this a very
Oh no,
quick
this is just a rental property.
Oh, I see. Yes. Huh.
And when he says, oh no, this is just a rental property, he kind of looks sheepishly at James.
Not the one I rented.
Right.
I understand, sir, that perhaps you may be reticent to discuss what you may have seen out on the grounds there, but I have no idea where I'm going with this.
Sounds like you're trying to use reassurance.
I'm trying to use reassurance, yeah.
Okay.
But perhaps you could maybe describe a little more about what it is you think you saw.
So just using reassurance or a spend?
I'm just using reassurance, I think.
So he puts his hands to his face and kind of like pulls him down for a second. He says, it could have been an animal.
Like a dog, sir?
No, it walked almost like a man.
But it was not a man.
And with that, he looks at you directly and just kind of stares into your eyes, and he says, men don't have scales.
So Virgil's kind of racking his brain now, thinking, wondering if there's something that he knows about this area in particular, and anything that he might have heard on his travels. Actually, I want to use occult. Okay. That's kind of the ability that he's using here.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend a point again, but I'm just wondering whether I've heard anything similar in the area about.
So Virgil has heard stories from folk that are down on their luck, of people being taken, particularly near graveyards. You've heard the term, and I don't know if you say anything out loud, but yeah, actually you wouldn't have heard the term, but you would have heard, feeders or eaters referred to before by people who are, don't have a steady place to stay, and more often than not are left out on the streets. And people like Virgil go missing all the time. So you know that you believe that there are things out there that feed on people. And it sounds like maybe this could be that.
Oh, okay. So I think Virgil kind of strokes his beard a little, looking thoughtful, looks at Grissom and says, I believe I've heard such stories before, sir.
Well, and now he's taking you seriously. He's like, is my family in danger? Could it have followed my son home?
Well, that would depend on where your son had been, sir.
So about now, I would say probably Dr. Warburton comes back in. And William says, well, I mean, he's a boy. He runs off. He has fun. I mean, this is the 1930s. Like, people didn't track what the kids did all day.
Is there perhaps a cemetery nearby?
Closest cemetery is up around Newport, about 5 miles north of here. This is all beachfront and preserve areas right now, where we are. And I think Dr. Warburton would have walked in on hearing, Grissom say, boys are boys. I mean, he runs off and on his own.
Unfortunately, Mr. Grissom, I think your son needs some more supervision. He appears to have contracted a form of radiation poisoning.
Radiation poisoning? What's that?
So
you don't have to go into detail. Just say you.
Yeah, I don't go into detail. Essentially, there's some hazardous cargo that has been shipwrecked on the beach, and it is leaking some form of poisoning, which is having a detrimental effect on your son. I believe it to be short term, and I believe with proper bed rest and vitamins, he will make a full recovery. However, there is a chance that other children may also be fall upon this and become injured. I believe we have to report this to the Coast Guard and other local authorities to have this area cleaned up.
Can we catch it? Whatever he's got, the boy.
No, no. Without going into the finer points, it has a effect on his internal organs, but it is non-transmissible.
Yeah, it's not a disease.
So can I go and have a word with him then, please?
Yep, absolutely.
Be gentle with him.
Oh, it's okay. I won't hit him.
Do you say that in front of Mr. Grissom? So obviously Alistair might be a little interested in hearing the doctor say something about poisonous cargo. You're muted, Strain.
Is this cargo? Is it a ship crashed or a sunk or something?
The boy did mention a wreck.
He did. The boy mentioned that he was throwing stones at a wreck on the bluff. And when he came back, he had these wounds, these lesions all over his body, which, in my reading, I have come to associate with issues with radiation poisoning.
Right. Well, I mean,
there are certain substances that emit particles that are hazardous to the human body. They can be used.
My interruption, but would this be the wreck of the Bell that we're referring to? The ship, the Bell.
Grissom actually is like, yeah, it's the only wreck that I know along the shore right now that's on the rocks, as it were.
Is this a recent wreck? Where did this Bell come from?
Well, it is recent. It happened a couple of months ago. The current belief is that there was a rogue wave that somehow placed the ship up amid the rocks far above the waterline. And that fits in with your timeline for the stolen antiquities.
And no one has come to salvage it.
Well, that's the thing. Does anybody? Let's see. Where is this? Oh, does anybody have law?
I certainly do.
I hope I do.
Well, that's a surprise.
I do too.
No,
Okay.
many of us.
No, I don't.
So
I don't. Or do I?
you.
It's an academic.
Who is it?
Right.
So it's Mark, Alistair, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
oh, Jimmy. So Jimmy's from out of town. Alistair's from out of town. So Mark, again, just local knowledge. You probably have heard that no one has actually dealt with the wreck yet because there's some dispute over who should have access to it. Apparently there's a law firm somewhere. I mean, you don't know all the details.
Yeah, sure.
That have intervened to keep the local commissioner of wrecks from taking anything off the ship.
I believe I have heard that there may be some issue with insurance. An insurance company that may have been involved and is blocking any salvage rights.
Well, this is now a public health issue.
Being a representative of the Port Authority, Grissom actually raises his eyebrow again at Mudd and says, "Yeah, in fact, that's true. There's a law firm from Providence, Rhode Island, that has put a stay on any retrieval. Nobody knows why, but they're blocking it."
Is this This wreckage, it's very close to your property, is it? Or this property?
Yeah, it's 10, 15 minutes walk down the beach.
Doctor, did you ask if Mr. Grissom's son brought anything back from the site of the wreck with him?
Only these, he professed that these lights followed him home.
We were talking about the lights. I saw those earlier.
I thought these were my hallucinations caused by.
So did I, but I saw them, and I saw the boy see them at the same time. So, unless we had the same hallucination at the same time,
Perhaps, are you feeling ill at all, sir?
no.
You're unsteady on your feet. It is not unbeknownst.
I'm just tired. I've had a long drive. Drink some more coffee. No, Mr. Grisham said there's been a prowler on the premises or around the premises, and I just wonder. It seems odd. I wonder if his son's brought something back to the house and somebody's seen him, and they want. Maybe it's some of the cargo's got washed up off the wreck. I mean, I can go and ask him.
So I will say, while you're listening to this, Zev, because of your oral history point spend earlier, you're hearing things, and things are kind of coming together in your brain. Things about the lights, things about when the law firm in Providence, Rhode Island is mentioned, you are suddenly remembered of a weird church out of Providence about 50 years ago. You think they were, it was called like the Starry Wisdom something. And it comes back to you now because they worshipped some kind of crystal that they had brought back from Egypt. And there were tales of devil bats and disappearances. That whole cult got ran out of Providence back in 1877.
Yeah, of course. That must be it. That the lights. There were crystals on a church taken by a church. Some cult activity from a while ago. That could explain those lights. If there are people perhaps that are looking for crystals, or if those strange crystals reflected lights somehow, that could certainly explain it. Perhaps there are artifacts afoot that were brought in from that ship that in fact that would explain why the ship actually got here. Perhaps the crystals it was carrying was somehow obscured the light from the lighthouse, which led it to come aground. We should probably investigate the crash of the area, see if we can find these.
We absolutely should not. It is a poisonous, dangerous place. We should stay well away.
Well, hang on. That's poisonous. That's poisonous for the small child. We all understand that adults have far stronger constitutions than do young children.
I am going to lean on Dr. Warburton's sense of duty now, which is his drive. It is 100% his duty to go figure out what's going on at this wreck.
I would say get the whole thing closed down, but fine, yes, for the sake of the story. Well, fine. Have to make sure there are no other children trapped there or evidence
you would want to check on things yourself. It's not you might call in help at some point.
Okay.
But for your sense of duty, you don't have enough to make those calls.
Do I get a sense? I mean, obviously, do I get a sense that when Eustace, he didn't pop down, spend half an hour, and then pop up? He was there for a protracted period of time over and
So-
over again.
No, that's a fair question. So with your sense is that he physically interacted with something
Right. Okay. Fine.
that
Fine.
probably did this. So it's not the area so much as his physical interaction with something.
Okay, that's fine. I'm
Perhaps
talking about
the other thing is that it looks like radiation poisoning, but that doesn't mean that's what
That's
it
also
is,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
It's also quite possible that the child was not completely forthright with you, Doctor, and may have actually gotten to other things that were a little bit more than what you described, throwing
Maybe.
rocks at some derelict ship that was washed ashore.
We should go and take a look. I absolutely insist that we go and take a look. It's definitely the right thing to do.
Can I go and interrogate the boy?
You can. However, before you do that, we should probably take a break, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, very good.
So we come back in with Jimmy heading up to Eustace's room. Much is the same with the doctor. You knock on the door. Well, the doors are closed now. You knock on the door, I would assume, or do you just walk in?
I'll just walk in.
Okay, so you open the door and it's dark in there. You see Eustace outlined by the window, looking outside. Or you
What
see
are
a
you look-
small shape, I guess I should say.
Are you looking for the light, son?
He turns around and again asks you to close the doors, just kind of winces a little bit at the light coming in from the hallway. And says, yeah, I was watching them. You saw them too.
Yeah,
I saw you see them.
I saw them, then I saw you. The doctor tells me you've got some sores. You were throwing rocks down at the wreck.
Yeah, I was just, it looked really cool, and so I went down there and I saw there was, like some stuff, and I was throwing rocks at it, and yeah.
Can I use a point of interrogation? And have you brought anything back to the house? So
You don't have to use a point. You can just leverage your interrogation for that. And yeah,
I've got that assess honesty as well.
yeah, that works too.
You're gonna try and lie to me.
I mean, assuming you're approaching pleasantly with this idea at first, he says, I grabbed a couple of seashells.
Do you have them in your room? It's really important you tell me the truth, and if you've taken anything from the beach, you need to show it me now.
Yeah, they're over in my nightstand.
Do you want to get them for me?
He walks over and he pulls out a handful of seashells.
I wouldn't know anything about radiation, would I?
No.
I might think it's contagious, sir. So I'll take out a dirty handkerchief and say if you can just put them in that for me.
Oh, okay. Can I have them back when you're done?
Yeah, sure you can. Yeah, sure you can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he puts them in your handkerchief.
Do they just look like normal seashells?
They look like normal seashells. Yeah, I mean, a couple of different varieties, all very normal.
And
There might be a couple of small rocks in there as well.
Do
But
you have a lead-lined box by any chance?
I've got an handkerchief. It's fine. And you sure there's nothing? You didn't bring anything back? Anything else back from the beach?
no, the box was too heavy. It was too big for me. I didn't bring it back.
Hold on. Box? Box?
Yeah, there was a box.
Were the shells in the box?
No, the shells weren't even close to the wreck. They're just from the beach that I picked up. You asked if I
Oh,
brought
so
anything back from the beach.
So what was it? You couldn't. Did you open the box?
Oh, yeah, but it was empty.
How big was the box?
Oh, and he says, it shows you it's probably about like a bread box.
And it was on the beach, like opposite the wreck, near the wreck.
It was near the wreck. I tried to pick it up. It was heavy.
And it was a metal box. Metal?
Yeah. It had some weird scribbles on it.
Right. And you obviously touched it because you opened it.
Yeah, it's empty. It looked like there was a lock on the ground next to it. Rusted.
Did you see anybody near it? Or
No.
around? No.
No, I told the other guy there was a weird looking man, but he's up on the rocks, like.
Oh, he's
close to the
downstairs.
wreck.
Oh no, right, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go and have a talk to the doctor and your father, and when we've sorted
Okay.
all this out,
I'm tired.
have your
Is
shelter.
anybody else gonna come talk to me?
We'll send one of the servants up.
I think I'm gonna go to bed.
Just get some rest. Don't stop looking out that window.
Okay.
Did the lights come to the house before you went to the beach? Did you see the lights before you went to the beach and touched the box?
I didn't see them. No, I didn't see them before I went down by the wreck.
So after you went to the wreck, you found the box, then you started seeing the lights.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you rest up, and we'll get this all sorted out for you. You and your dad.
Okay. And he actually does go climb into bed.
Okay. And then
He was already wearing like pajamas.
I'll go back downstairs gingerly with this dirty handkerchief with some shells,
Okay.
and I'll walk into the room and just palm it off onto the dock.
So yeah, Jimmy hands you a handkerchief full of what feels like shells.
He's not listening.
Trousers.
Thank you, Jimmy. Good Jimmy. Good Jimmy.
Give me the shell. What am I going to show?
Wow, what a
Handkerchief
find.
is wet,
Nice.
but not from the seashells.
I was looking up household ways to detect radiation.
Would you like some alfalfa now?
There are some seashells in a dirty handkerchief of mine. The boys told me there's a metal box on the beach near the wreck, and he said it's got some weird writing on, but it was empty. It sounds like somebody's broken the lock off and taken whatever was inside, but he mentioned a strange, weird-looking man. He told you about the same man? Maybe
He
that's the
mentioned
man
there was some form of hobo around, yes.
Maybe that's the man that's been coming around the house. And he only started seeing the lights after he'd been down to the wreck. So are they looking for the same thing, maybe? Coming to the house?
Well, perhaps someone else has stolen these objects, and then this man has come here thinking that Eustace has stolen them.
Well, or these lights could be... I don't know. So, are we...
So
are we
this
to
is
the
the
beach?
first time. This is the first time that in this group that Virgil has heard mention of a man being down by the wreck.
Yes.
An old man, wasn't it?
A weird man.
Oh, a skinny man.
Sickly
he
skinny
said
is what
there was a
the boy
man
said.
down by the wreck. Is that correct, sir?
That's what
Eustace.
Mr. Grisham.
Yes, that's what he said to me too.
And did he give this man a name? Did he know him?
No, I didn't know him. Just said he was odd looking.
He said he looked sickly. Very, very drawn, very thin.
Well, maybe he looks that way because he's got whatever was in the box.
But then why would he still be around? Yeah.
We're presuming it's the same man, but it might not be.
I think what we have to do is go down and secure the area and make sure no other child puts himself at risk.
Absolutely agree. Yes, we should go down there immediately.
Immediately.
Absolutely, yes.
At
Do you
night.
think those
yes.
shells are safe?
I don't know about you, but I've had quite a long travel. Perhaps we start bright and early tomorrow morning. We say around 10 a.m.?
Spirits of adventure, sir. The spirit of adventure. It could be something, an artifact from ancient Egypt, swift over the waters from Cairo and to Egypt and to London and then to here. It could be something magnificent. It could be Martians able to land on the pyramids. Something like that.
Mr. Grissom, you are part of the Port Authority here, as I understand it. Are you aware of where the bell came from?
Well, the bell never put into the port.
But presumably it had given you instruction that it was due to, in which case it would have to say which port it had traveled from previously.
There were no such records that I'm aware of. That's one of the questions about the bell. It's likely she was a smuggler.
Ah, I see.
And in fact, I do recall, now that you mention it, that the bell, or at least a ship matching her description, has been seen in the past few years as a smuggler of alcohol, but she was cleared of that not too long ago. I think the last time we inspected her, she had one of her bilge tanks, or one of her coal bunkers, I guess I should say, had been converted into cargo space.
Nonetheless, I believe as the only individuals who are aware of this and able to take activity this late in the evening, we should go and secure the area.
I would definitely be willing to lend you a hand, Doctor.
Thank you, sir. You seem a capable physical man.
Mr. Grissom, we need lanterns, we need oil lamps, we need torches. I need my cane and my overcoat. Damn, I wish I had my valet here. I could have got my shoes out for me.
If only someone had a large van for bringing back things.
Yes. Well, my truck that I had hired could suffice, I suppose.
Excellent. Good show, chap. Good show.
We should probably also get rope and cloth for covering our faces. Perhaps iodine as well, Doctor. Wouldn't you say?
I tell you what, have a grab a glass of brandy. There you go. Take one of those and go see the doctor in the morning. It will be fine. Absolutely.
So Grissom is more than happy to call the servants to kind of go through the house, but this is just, like a rental property. So if you want anything in specific, I think I am going to require preparedness rolls or spends.
Well, this is a beachside property, correct?
It is a beachside property, yes.
So, fishing rods, I'm assuming that they'll have, and...
Is there a boat available with the property?
So you don't recall seeing one, but you haven't gone outside? You haven't gone to the back, right? You do know that a lot of the properties along the point are up on bluffs, and so there might be a dock down below. But if you ask Grissom, he personally doesn't have a boat. So, he's not quite that affluent. So,
actually, Doctor, as far as I'm aware, the boat was wrecked by, or was grounded by, a freak wave, and actually, high tide does not reach the area where the ship currently is.
We just need lanterns, then, and we'll be fine.
So,
exactly.
Lanterns, Grissom's staff is able to come up with a few lanterns and maybe an electric torch. Rope is probably easy enough.
Is it raining? Is it?
No, it's quite clear. Yeah, the weather is fine.
Fine. Maybe some tools in case we need to find our way into the vessel.
Okay, some basic tools you could probably scare up as well.
Fine.
So again, we'll handle it with preparedness when we get there. But yeah, some basic stuff you guys will have.
Okay.
Grissom actually pulls down an atlas of the surrounding area and kind of points out to you on the atlas. If we go back to the map, which still isn't showing up on navigation, and it should. All right, now it should. That there is a road approach to the area, and you can approach it from above. He does tell you, though, that although he personally doesn't have a boat, he has been, on a few colleagues' yachts and things like that in the area. They've been past that point several times, and he tells you that the beach is very precarious there. So taking like a boat to shore might be difficult. Lots of rocks and so forth. Not impossible, certainly not a good idea at night. But there is a bluff approach to it as well. And much like Virgil pointed out, like all the stories indicate that the ship is almost impossibly lodged up on these high bluff rocks far above the sea line.
The person that was seen outside, was that in the evening?
So no, Eustace was just down there during the day.
No,
Or-
around the
or-
house.
Oh, Grissom.
Oh yeah,
saw
that
him.
was in the evening. The Prowler, that
Yeah.
was in the evening.
How
Just
late
last
in the
night,
evening?
William says.
What, like really late, like 11, 12-ish, or?
Oh, I was working late. It probably wasn't much later than, say, 10 o'clock or so. It's probably like 8 o'clock now.
And whereabouts was he? Like the back of the house, or?
Yeah, I took a step outside to, Mary doesn't like pipe smoke. So I went outside for a few calming puffs before bed, and I saw it moving around. I don't think it noticed me. I went back inside before I have no way to defend myself here. And
Could I have a quick look where he thought he saw it? Just see if I can
yeah, absolutely. He's willing to take you outside and show you.
find anything. If it's dropped
Okay.
anything, maybe. Or...
Anybody else going to do anything?
I think Virgil will follow James out with William
Okay.
to have a look at that area.
But to be honest,
So-
Alistair will come out as well because he wants to get going.
Yeah. Okay.
We can
and-
do it on the way, can't we? Just
Yeah, you can.
I've got to make sure
Yeah.
everything gets on the truck.
Yep.
Of
So
course,
he takes you
Mr.
outside,
Kinney,
and anybody who's not assisting loading up the truck. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Mr. Grissom did say that the thing that he saw was not human.
come again.
William stops and say, I didn't say that exactly.
You said it had scales, sir, did you not?
Well, let us
think-
not get carried away with flights of fancy here. Let us focus on.
I thought the boy said he was skinny. I didn't hear anything about scales.
So, okay, just to be clear, the skinny, sickly man that the boy saw was at the wreck.
Yeah. But I'm
The
wondering
prowler.
if he's followed the boy back here.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
that's
no.
my thing.
You're
Probably
thinking
not.
it's the same guy. Yeah,
Gotcha.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Gotcha.
but it's probably not. So if he's a vagrant, whatever, he might not have gone too far away from the house. He might be hiding in the bushes somewhere.
You are not listening to me, Mr. Kenny.
Go on.
So as you guys are chatting, as he leads you over to where it is, he takes you over to, it's a nice backyard. It ends rather abruptly at the edge of the bluff. And he takes you over there. There appears like maybe there is kind of a rough pathway down to the beach below. There is a dock down there. There is no boat currently docked there.
Right.
I should
But
use my
is-
6 athletics to hop down like a gazelle.
But he takes you out there. There are some bushes and things. It's kind of light though, because it's kind of a manicured lawn. And yeah, he takes you to the area where he saw the figure. Are you looking for anything?
Yeah. Do you know what it is that you are looking for, Mr. Kenny?
Can I spend notice to notice something? Is that what it is? Technical. Is it, or does it mean something else?
I think that's that's like
yeah.
Quite hidden, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
If you want to spend notice, sure. But what are you looking at?
Maybe like tracks. If he's disturbed anything.
So,
maybe
do you want to do a point spend, or do you just want to leverage that ability? Are you just using it, or do you want to spend?
Do you get more for a spend?
You do.
You get more for a spend. I'll spend.
Okay.
I've got 2 points. So I'll spend 8 points.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just hit the little plus sign to add 1, and then hit the thing to spend it.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, so what you find with a point spend is it's faint, but you do see some tracks. Like I said, it's a manicured lawn, but it hasn't been mowed in the past day or so, right? So there are some definite tracks there. But as you look closely and really get down there, perhaps with one of the lanterns or the electric torch, you notice that the tracks are very definitive, because not only is there an impression in the grass, but there are punctures into the dirt in the ground that look almost like claw tips puncturing into the ground. So definitely not a boot. Definitely not a shoe. Now, could it be a dog? Could it be, I don't know, an alligator? That seems strange. But he did mention scales.
Scales.
He did also mention that it walked upright like a man.
And where they're headed? Did you say they're headed to the dock, or the way?
So you actually, with a point spend, I'll give you that as well. So there are 2 paths. Looks like the same track. One path you can trace heading directly to the house, and the other path you can trace coming back and heading down the bluff to the beach.
What did we say it was? Scales. So it's a reptile that can swim. So it could be like a giant lizard.
And that walks
A walking snake.
on 2 legs.
On 2 legs, right? Because yes, it's definitely a 2-legged gate.
Okay, let's go.
So with that knowledge, are we going to move over to the wreck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So are you going to approach it from the bluff, or from try to find a boat and go down below?
From the bluff.
I think the bluff, because we were told that a boat would be difficult to get.
Well,
Yeah, right.
especially at
Definitely.
night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if any of us sail.
A midnight swim.
No.
So as you
Okay.
drive as close as you can get, and you basically have to pull off on the road, but as you kind of pull off at the place where you think the wreck is, and you pull the truck off, you can see the incandescent headlights kind of sweeping over this impossible wreck lodged on the sharp rocks at the edge of the bluff. And as you approach, there is a bit of a path for a bit, because this is, a very commonly walked area by people. But then the path gives way to just rough ground and rocks. And with your torches and lanterns, you can see as you approach that, the ship seems to be kind of precariously perched on these high, jagged stones.
That hardly looks very stable. That where that is. It looks like any imbalance will cause the thing to go over completely.
Just keep your eyes peeled for any lizard men.
Well, there's a box around here somewhere, which the boy said he saw.
Maybe the lizard came out of the box.
So
no,
we
it's
keep
small box
Are we keeping an eye out for said box then?
and lizard.
Oh yes, look for the box.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to make a spend, or are we just using notice? We know Jimmy has notice. Does anybody else?
I'm willing to spend a point of notice if that's all right.
Yep. Okay. So, assuming you are carrying one of the lanterns or perhaps the electric torch, and perhaps you just sweep the light just right, you do see the box because, again, you were all told that the boy found the box on the beach. You do see it down below. However, the rocks are quite jagged and quite rough here, and getting down to the box is going to be some work. Essentially, if you want to get down to the box, you're going to need to succeed at a pretty difficult athletics test.
Okay. Well, I'm standing at the top of the rocks. I'm shining the light down, and I just say, Dr. Warburton.
Yes,
and I point in the direction of the box on the beach.
Oh, Lord. Good mercy.
Now, while you guys are looking at the box down on the beach, since you two are looking down there, I'd like everyone else to make a sense trouble test for me. That is a general ability. Everybody probably has it at some level. You can just roll the die, or don't forget, you can spend points to add to it as well.
But yes, it is beforehand.
Yeah, you have to do, yeah.
But you do have to do it beforehand. Okay, so, wow, even with a 2-point spend, unfortunately, Jimmy doesn't see it. You know who does see it, though? Alistair.
Alcohol.
Great roll.
Lucky
It's the
kid.
alcohol. He's looking around. So, Alistair, as you guys move up, a couple of things stand out to you as you head towards the wreck. First of all, you notice a car that is also parked relatively nearby. It is kind of pulled off into some bushes. It is not. It's more of a pedestrian vehicle. You know what I'm saying? It's not something you would like to drive. Bit of an eyesore. But there is a car parked there, and as you head down the bluff towards the wreck, you do notice the form of someone standing off to the side, kind of closer to the vehicle, but still along the bluff, appears to be watching your group.
I shall stop, bend down to tie my shoelaces, or check my shoelaces are up, just to see, and then look back just to see if he reacts to that as the others continue on. I'll be right there.
He appears to just be watching. Although, as you kind of wait and ponder, you do get the definitive sense that he is following your progress. Or your groups, not necessarily you specifically. And maybe
continue on and catch up with the others, but always keeping an eye out behind us.
Okay. So as you continue on, at some point as you continue to look behind you, one time you look and you notice that the figure is on the move, and he's heading back towards that other vehicle. And then shortly thereafterwards, all of you hear a vehicle start up. and you see a vehicle pull off. The headlights come on and pull off and drive away, heading back towards Newport.
Interesting. Possibly one of the smugglers keeping an eye on their cargo.
Okay, so
Or perhaps some local lovers having a tryst.
Possibly.
So, what are we doing? You see the box down there. You did mention that you wanted some rope, so I think it's fairly okay to have you all have rope if you wanted to try and get down there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I'll
it's
go
not a
and
bad
scoot
idea.
down.
What's the terrain like? Is it like a vertical drop down to it, or is it like
So the terrain is treacherous. If you fail this roll, there's a very good chance you will fall to your death and potentially drown.
Right, I'm going
unless
for
you're tied to a rope, and then you can be rescued by your friends?
So using a rope is going to make it less difficult. People can also help.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think we
athletics,
should
wasn't it? So
attempt
tie
to-
rope to me, hold the other end, don't let me go. I'm going to go.
So does anybody want to add athletics
I
points?
will spend a couple of points to give him a plus. Yep.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Easy peasy, army training coming in.
So you spent 2 points of your own, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know there's a roll there, but it's not a roll.
Yeah,
is it?
you did
I just
roll.
spent 2 points. Yeah.
So by adding the 2 additional points from Virgil, you're able to successfully get down to the shore. And
And make it look easy.
well, it definitely wasn't fun. I'll put it that way. But
Good show.
You're-
Good show.
since
You
you're the
next.
one down there, we will move over to this scene very quickly.
Oh,
And yeah,
Wow.
there's a little box down on the beach.
Which I don't
It's
want
got handles. You can tie the rope to the handle, and we can put it up.
Oh, yeah.
is that a key
It's maybe
in the
not a-
sand?
It's maybe not a perfect representation. No, so the box has a lock that is broken. The padlock looks to be some kind of a modern addition to this box. It looks like holes have been drilled into a box that otherwise wouldn't have had them, because the clasp in the box itself look to Jimmy to be a bit older. It is marked with a strange inscription. Do you have any languages?
Is it
I
a
do.
padlock?
Well,
who's
you're
down
not there?
Yeah, okay.
Is it a padlock? That's been to...
It is. It is.
So, has it been forced off, or has the key been used? Can I?
So interestingly enough, it looks like it's just broken. It doesn't necessarily look like it was forced off. It just broke. You know, think of like a 1930s padlock that maybe hit a rock too hard, right?
Right. Okay. So, I'll take the rope from round my waist, unless they throw another rope down. That would probably be better, wouldn't it? Do I think they'd be able? It's not a massive box, is it? So yeah, tie a rope to it.
So as you kind of tie the rope to it and kind of shimmy it around, it does feel very heavy, which it feels heavier than it should. It is currently closed.
I don't really want to open it.
Okay.
I think the boy said he opened it, didn't he?
He said he opened it and it was empty.
Yeah, but he's ill. I'm not yet.
That's true.
It could be heavy
Or are you?
because lead's quite heavy.
I'll
Yeah.
take my jacket off so I don't touch it with my hands,
Okay.
and I'll open it.
Tie it. Oh, and open it. Okay.
Yeah, just
So when you open it, the inside is empty, and it is so. As I said, it's kind of bread box size. The inside of the box is actually smaller than what the exterior would suggest.
hence the weight of it.
Yeah, because it's thick. if you had to guess, there's probably at least 3 inches, if not more, of material on each side, the lid, each side. And it looks like there's enough space in the box to hold an item roughly the size of a fist.
Right. Like
a lot of padding.
decent-sized crystal. Right, yeah. So I'll close it up, tie a rope to it.
Okay. So as you're doing that, we're going to go back to the top of the bluff. What's everybody else doing while Jimmy's down there messing around with the box?
Well, you got that okay.
I'm kind of leaning over and watching him.
Not
Still alive. Doing good.
I think I'd be using my my archaeological expertise of going into digs and places that might be precarious to analyze this ship to see if it actually is stable enough for us to go in and investigate.
And is there an investigative ability you want to use with that? Maybe geology, maybe architecture.
Architecture, I think, is probably a good one, but I think it's a spend, not a roll, correct?
No, so it's actually neither unless you want it to be, right? Okay. So as you're looking at this, just with what you have, why is your cryptography down? Let's add that back up.
Yeah, and languages also went down by 1. I'm not sure why, but
yeah, I don't know why. I gotcha.
Maybe I was playing.
Maybe. So at any rate, you notice a couple of things with your architecture and your geology. First of all, architecture, the ship looks like it could break apart at any moment. But it hasn't. And this is the strange thing. It looks like it hasn't because geologically, the ship looks to be fused with the rocks. The rocks aren't puncturing the ship. They're fused with it.
And I'm going to go and investigate that. So I'm going to try to get up closer to see where the rocks meet the hull and just kind of mutter to myself and exclaim the curiosity of this, because this makes no sense. I mean, it would have taken such a force to bring the ship to this point that surely it would have had its hull broken and something would have been sticking inside to keep it suspended in this way. Otherwise, it's impossible. It's defies all physics.
Indeed. So would you like to make an athletics test to get close?
Absolutely. Let me just boost up a few.
Would you like to spend, or would you like to just make the roll?
I'm going to roll, and I'm going to add a few to the roll.
Okay.
Because that's just the way I roll.
Okay, so with a 5, you, and I don't know if anybody else notices this, but Zeev starts to move across the rocks towards the ship gingerly.
Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing, man?
Are you taking a lantern?
Yeah, of course. So it's so odd the way the ship is precariously like holding on to the rock side.
Don't get too close.
This is
as you get
unbelievable.
Closer,
as I get too close,
as you get closer, you notice a couple of things. First of all, yeah, I mean, it looks like the rocks are a part of the ship somehow, where they're meeting. You do also notice that there is a bit of a rent in the metal of the hull, where it looks like it probably would have been like the coal bunker portion of the ship. And it has been blown kind of out with rent metal just kind of peeling out. It also looks like you could board the ship through that.
That shouldn't be. That if anything, the impact would have come from outside in. That this ship hull should be curled in from smashing against a rock. looks like somebody's taken a can opener to this from the inside. Makes no sense whatsoever, and I'm absent-mindedly talking while I'm going inside. Perhaps I'm taking a notes and little.
I mean, are you talking loud enough that the rest of us can hear you from where we are?
I think he is.
I don't know from where you are, but I mean, like, I'm just like, shocking.
There is some, waves crashing sounds and things like that, but like, if he's so shocked, I don't see why some of you wouldn't be able to hear him. So is anybody responding?
Don't go in there, man. Don't go in there, son.
He's going in.
We did. Well,
so
excuse me, and I'm going to go after him. You can't go in there alone.
I call for backup character.
As Ze'ev steps
on the rope.
As Ze'ev steps onto the ship, and as Alistair chases after him, at that moment, you hear from above, because the gunwale of the ship is probably a good 15 to 20 feet above you. You hear, "Hey, what are y'all doing down there?" And you look up to see a man. Excuse me. I will show you this man. Yeah, show everybody.
oh my goodness.
No, you showed us.
No, you showed the wrong thing, but I know how to get it. What's the man's name?
Close your eyes.
What did I show wrong?
Is it Lou?
No.
Yeah, I think you.
No.
Is it the squatter?
Showed us your secret.
Is it the squatter?
Is it the squatter?
We'll close the secrets.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Hang on. No, I know how to get to him. Give me
Or
a
is
second.
it Hunter on the wreck? I'll close it now. Forget it. I'll just close it.
Yeah, just close it.
Done. Sorry.
Does that show him? Thomas Willett?
No, you actually have to. No, it doesn't. You have to. Yeah, now it does.
There he is.
Yes.
Okay.
So Thomas Willett, which is known to Virgil,
Yes.
is peering over the edge. He does not look well. Even in the lights from below, you notice that he has some lesions visible on his body. His eyes have a bit of a pale, luminant glow to them, and they look as if Dr. Warburton would recognize anyway that they seem to be covered in cataracts.
Who?
The last time Virgil saw Thomas, he was living in town.
Okay. I take it he looked a bit healthier.
Quite a bit healthier, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some weird kind of driftwood strung on the string around his neck.
Good heavens, son, you do not look well.
This is
Is that
my
you,
place.
Thomas?
Y'all get out of here. And he throws some random thing from the ship at you. Some scrap of metal.
Any archaeological artifacts you want to throw down at us, sir?
So
Thomas Willett, is that you?
hang on, is anybody helping Jimmy pull up the box?
Wait, how do you
And then
know
pull up
him?
Jimmy?
You do the house.
I mean, that was the idea, wasn't it? I think Virgil was. 'Cause I was assisting, wasn't I?
Hi, Jimmy.
Yeah, I was assisting him, so I guess I'm holding onto the rope at the other end. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, you can still, as you're hauling up the box, it's heavy. It might take two of you to make it easier, but you can speak up to him. So what do you say to him again?
I just said, Thomas Willett, is that you?
Virgil Mudd, what are you doing out here?
Nah, it just happens I'm looking for your brother, Sam.
You ain't gonna find him.
Why is that?
Sam's dead.
Well, that is unfortunate, son.
Don't worry though, he's all right.
What? What an odd thing to say.
Son, have you been living in this ship, son?
This is where I talk to Sam.
You just said he was dead.
Yep. Now get out of here. This is my place.
No. There's a young. young child got sick from something over here. We must find what it is. And have you been wandering around the grounds?
Jake, aren't you already inside the ship?
Oh yeah. Oh, so I wouldn't hear. Okay, I don't hear.
I mean, you could hear, but I think you'd be more interested in what's going on inside the ship, because as you step into the ship,
I'm chasing off him.
As you and Alistair step into the ship, and you hear these voices shouting at each other, and you're making out what he's saying from above.
Does it groan when they went into the ship? Does it like groan?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of which,
spread your wings!
Let's move to.
Wait, lads, I got a great idea.
So, inside the ship, you can see, thanks to your light, and Alistair and Zev move into what was clearly at some point a coal bunker, converted into a storage space, right? There remain several things kind of in both water, and there is strangely ankle deep kind of rust colored water in the bilge and bunker of this ship. Clearly some of the parts of the ship are still not full of holes. But you do see some things kind of floating around, some debris. I believe that Alistair has some art history, does he not?
I do, yes.
He does. So you immediately can see what looks like some moldering paintings, some books, other objects to art, all worthless now. They've been so badly damaged by this floodwater.
Devastating. This is fine stuff that has been ruined by this water. I can't lean against something. Oh, this is not good, Doctor. This is not good at all.
So
we must press further on to find something that is salvageable.
As you lean against something, you hear the ship just groan. And you hear a sound of tearing metal.
Perhaps there's too much weight on this ship from somewhere. Or does it sound like it's off in the distance, or does it sound like it's close to me and being caused by us?
I mean, it's close to you. I don't know that it's necessarily caused by you. It's just continuous.
I see. Oh.
However,
I lean against the hull. You step forward. We'll see if it creaks again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll try to brace the weights, but it's this thing should have tumbled down long ago. If it hasn't, surely the two of us in here is not going to make it go all the way down. That makes no sense. This thing has been fused to the rock, so
it's not resting on the rocks then.
And no, it's fused to the side. It must.
Yeah, and now that you're actually inside the ship, Alistair can see that very clearly as well. That the rocks coming up through the hull, they haven't punctured the hull. The hull looks like it is just welded into or melded into those rocks that are puncturing the hull in a few places.
There must have been a high heat event, perhaps, that has done this. Oh, imagine what secrets this ship holds.
So,
shall we have an adventure?
Good man, absolutely.
Are you both carrying lights?
Well, we know I am because I went this way, but...
Well, I know Jake was. So. Okay, so you're both carrying lights. In that case, Did
you want to roll to see if I've got one?
No, it's fine. You guys...
Oh, okay.
You guys said, we are going to try something different, though. I would like both of you individually to roll sense trouble. Do not spend for this unless you really want to.
No.
This is more just to see what happens to whom.
I'm so sorry. So sorry, Sir Alistair.
Okay, so Alistair, as you guys are kind of looking around in this space, and you're seeing all these ruined art objects in this kind of knee-deep water, maybe Alistair puts his lantern down for a moment on an upraised portion, but as you turn around and look, you see a shape emerge out of the darkness behind you. And being that it's nighttime, you guys could have come during the day. It is maybe not clearly visible, but in the lights that you have, what you are seeing is some hideous amalgam of bat, serpent, and insect. And the reason why you see it perhaps quite so well is that it's all kind of limbed in this electric blue fire as it rises up out of the darkness. And I'm going to need both of you to make a stability test as this thing leaps at Alistair.
I am going to spend so that I hope I can help.
You both have to make a stability test.
Damn it.
Ooh. Okay, so Alistair is actually okay. I mean, depending upon how you feel seeing this thing leap at you. Zev, however, Jake, you're going to lose 6 stability from the sight of this thing.
Wow.
Holy shit.
6. I believe I only have 4. So that would put me at -2.
Ooh.
Oh,
nice.
do you only have 4 stability?
That's what it shows.
Yeah.
Seen lots of stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I did walk into this place. How stable could I be in the first place?
Oh no, hang on. Your stability should be at max.
All right, then I'm at 0 now.
But now you're at 0. Okay. So you are reduced to 0 stability though, so you are shaken by this. So you lose a point of sanity.
Okay.
A single point.
Yep.
And now you gain +1 to all difficulty numbers, which we'll see if the game figures out for you automatically. We may have to do that.
Looking. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I'm gonna roll a quick.
It won't do it automatically. It won't do it automatically. No, I don't think so. Because there's no success or anything on the actual.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Thingy.
So yeah, we'll just remember you're at -1 to tests because you are now shaken. Now here's the thing: you've not lost your mind, but you are certainly freaking out. Right? Here's a thing you've never seen before. For some reason, Alistair may be upset by this, but maybe you're training on the Sal as a fencer, and as maybe you've learned to keep your cool as this thing leaps at you. So what is your response? What are you going to do?
Going to, with my cane, which is in my other hand, kind of flick open and bringing out the blade that is within my cane. And, oh, God!
Okay. So tell you what, why don't you, since you maintained your stability there, why don't you go ahead and give me a roll with your cane sword.
Do I roll the actual sword, or do I roll the skill?
So on the equipment screen, you want to use your sword. And you can add points to that if you choose. It is within, range because it's leaping at you.
Oh, where do these points come off of?
They come off of your weapon skill. They automatically
Which
come off your weapon
is-
skill if you just hit the plus button on the
Weapons,
sword
right?
itself.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Hey, nice.
nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
So you lash out at this thing and lunge perfectly, even in the knee-deep water as it leaps at you. And you feel nothing, as if your blade is piercing through the air. As this thing opens its maw and attempts to strike you with a dripping, electric blue, glowing, fanged mouth.
Lights.
In the harbor.
Now, does it hit your... It does. Your hit threshold is 3. It strikes you for 1 point of damage as you feel at once like a burning, but also freezing pain as its teeth puncture your shoulder as it leaps upon you. And then it continues to move. The thing is, even as it attacked you and bore you down to the ground with a splash in this rusty water, hopefully you don't get cut on anything and get tetanus, it didn't have any weight, really, yet somehow bore you to the ground. All right, Jake, what do you want to do?
I believe I mentioned that I did take my whip out of the luggage and I put it up my
You
belt.
did mention that. Okay, so you have a whip. Man, is whip on the equipment list? Because it should be if it's not. We're going to consider a whip to be a... Oh, yeah, there it is. Bullwhip. -1. Okay. Let me add a whip to you real quick.
Sure.
Add weapon. And what are you going to do with said whip?
I'm going to take it out and kind of. I think I'm going to try to lash at something in this room that might be able to tumble down on this thing, because I don't know what. I mean,
interesting. Okay.
You know, like kind of try to, because what's a whip going to do on this thing? I have to try to get, something to fall on it that's going to.
Well, you would have seen Alistair's sword pierce this thing,
right,
as if it was air, right? Now that being said, since you're not making an actual attack, and you don't really have any weapons points anyway, I will let you. Let's do. Yeah, go ahead and make a weapon roll.
All right.
You don't have any points to add to it, so you're kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
All right.
That's fine.
So, attempting to find something to pull onto it, you manage to whip and grab a hold of some portion of the ship and pull. And you hear some groaning and some debris falls on top of this thing. But as you watch, the debris literally falls through it.
Okay. And of course, I'm going to call. Again, I don't know who's where at this point, but I do know that we do have an investigator here. James.
Miles away.
Sorry.
Yeah, James.
Oh,
James is down the cliff.
well, that
Okay.
pesky doctor that keeps saying don't do things, who
So
happened to be right.
gonna-
Maybe he knows, what about this thing from his doctor days. Doctor?
We're gonna go back outside. You hear, perhaps a grunt, a manly grunt of pain from Alistair as he's bitten. I don't know. Does Alistair cry out in pain?
Yeah. Oh!
Okay. So you hear a cry of pain coming from inside. You also see a weird blue light in there that you definitely is not the same as the lanterns that
Those
they
idiots,
took in
they've
with
injured
them.
themselves.
And then Virgil, possibly with the support of Warburton, would be hauling the box up. The box gets to the top of the cliff. And do you send the rope back down for James?
Yeah, I think it'd be a nice thing to do.
I mean, yeah, yeah.
Or do you
No,
just
I'm
drop the rope
I'm
and let it
safe
climb
down
up?
here.
Until the tide comes in.
I'm a good swimmer.
So you got a cry for pain coming from inside the ship. You've got the skinny, sickly-looking guy, Thomas, who was up on deck. He's now disappeared over the side.
Well,
So you don't-
he's gone.
or he's
So as far as I'm aware, so Alistair has done something stupid and has injured himself inside the ship. So
Yeah.
my sense of duty, I'll
Yeah,
go
you
in
go.
and see the game. Yeah.
And
Are
I
you gonna
will.
be okay? Yeah.
I will do what I can here, and I will throw the rope back down to James.
Okay. You've already made the spend, so I'll let you
Yeah.
work with James, and the two of you can get James back up. Coming back up is a lot easier because at least you know a little bit where you're going this time and where some of the handholds and footholds are. So you'll be able to get him back up in a second. If Warburton goes into the ship,
Now what's going
That-
on here, boys?
as you step into the ship, you see the same thing, this weird amalgam of that serpent and insect stand up from the water and turn and look at you, and you're going to have to make a stability test.
Sure.
Again, keep in mind, you can spend points on it if you
think
want.
I may.
So if you want to spend points on it, you're going to want to, let's see, how do we do this?
Go to stability, click how many you spend, and then click test.
Yep, that's it.
Hey.
Okay.
Very nice.
So with a 6, you are not shaken by this sight. It is definitely strange. It's not something you've ever seen before. But you are able to act. What do you want to do?
Gentlemen, I think we need to leave. There's some form of creature in here. And it looks hungry.
Absolutely.
Also,
Time to go.
are you carrying light?
I'd probably do, yeah. I think we've probably got like one lantern each.
Okay.
So I'm walking in.
So since you passed your test, I will tell you this as you step in, because you stepped in and looked directly at it. Your natural instinct would have been to move the lantern around, looking for your, companions. And as you sweep the lantern and see this thing, because you didn't fail your stability test, you also notice that it flinches away from the light as you sweep the light over it. Okay.
Alistair, I think it's time we left.
Indeed, this is not something we can combat.
Would anybody like, since you're in the ship, would anybody like to make any spends of anything else on a last-ditch effort to find anything in the ship?
I guess I want to see if there's any children who've come in here or any children's bones.
Yes, I want to make a spend.
Okay.
I will definitely as well.
So are you spending notice or?
Yeah, we notice.
Okay, so anybody who wants to spend notice to see anything.
I haven't got notice.
What have you got? Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Under ceramics? Why is it under
you can make an art
ceramics?
spend for me. Oh, I was going to say art, not art history, but that's fine. Warburton spent notice. And what's spending? Also notice. Okay. So one thing that stands out to Alistair as you are just kind of getting back up and looking around as you head towards the exit, you see kind of floating there in this muck there's really only one way to describe it: a tome, a large book. Okay, and so you grab that. The other two, you guys see something interesting. So amongst the rocks that have pierced the ship, as you're moving your lanterns around, kind of maybe trying to keep this thing at bay, you do see on one of the spurs of stone what looks to be some kind of a crystal. It's about the size of a fist, and it's red and kind of pulsating.
We need a bigger handkerchief.
This is exactly the type of thing that would explain lights and stuff. Nothing more than a crystal which seems to be reflecting lights from something somewhere in the ship, no doubt, and I will grab it.
Okay, how are you going to grab it? Because it appears to be fused with the stone.
Well,
Do you want to just make an athletic spend and just kind of?
Do you have a little hammer?
I was wondering if I did have a little chisel hammer or something that I would use.
Yeah, probably.
Or something.
You're an arcane.
But in the end, I mean, this is really I still have, spooky creature there. So I think I would just be brute force trying to grab it with my hand and run. I'm not going to spend time to take out my little hammer and chisel and knock away at it because, there's Mr. Bitey over there.
If you want to do an athletic spend, keep in mind you're going to be at -1 because you're shaken.
Yeah. Okay. So I will add to compensate for that, and we'll. Yeah. This is. All right. I hope that's enough.
Hey.
Sure it was. So
Wow.
you
So it's a
just
7.
rip this thing free. 7 is still definitely enough. You grab a hold of it, you rip it free. You are now holding, in your bare hand, I should point out, this red pulsating crystal.
I don't have a bare hand; it's human, and I will put it in
Not anymore.
I will put it in my pouch, like that big, leather satchel that I have out the side of my whip.
So, as that's all happening, we're going to jump back outside to Virgil pulling James up the cliff with James's assistance. You guys are now both at the top of the cliff. You have this box. What now? You see a weird blue light coming from the wreck.
And is that the same color as the lights in the sky that I saw?
It is.
Where are they? Are they all in the? Are they all in the wreck?
They are.
The other 3, yeah. Oh, you were role playing. My mistake. Go ahead.
Yeah. Has Mark's character heard anything? Has
he heard
no?
a scream of pain.
Yeah.
James probably heard it too.
All right. I will draw my trusty Walther PPK and I will approach the wreck. And I expect my new friend to follow me.
Virgil follows. He's looking out for Thomas Willett, though, because he saw him disappear over the side, right? Is there any sign of him anymore, or is he completely gone?
So as you both approach the wreck, and you see this kind of blue light kind of moving around inside the hull, you do see Thomas show back up. He is struggling to lift what looks like some kind of a small cask, small barrel above his head. Get out of here! And he throws it down at you.
It is.
Horribly.
Okay.
Is he a friend of yours?
I'm afraid not. His brother and I conducted some business, and it did not go so well.
So probably about that time, as you guys approach the deck, I assume the other three of you are coming out of the wreck.
Yeah, I mean,
possibly
keeping the light
as quickly as possible
on the creature as it seems to be holding it in abeyance.
Quite possibly.
Okay, shout out, like, what's going on? What's going on?
We're leaving.
So,
with my notice check, I didn't see any like evidence of any like other bodies or anything.
no. So as the three of you stumble quickly out of the wreck, and James says, "What's going on? What's going on?"
Oh, I'm screaming, close your eyes tight. Don't open your eyes. Whatever you do, don't look. Don't open the eyes.
Nice.
I've got to look to be able to shoot.
So
There's something terrible in there. It's not friendly.
As you're all shouting this shape comes out of the wreck behind you.
Whoa!
And it is glowing electric fire. So the three of you are back to it, right? But James and Virgil are probably seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
As it steps outside the wreck.
I still got my lantern up because I know the light.
Oh, so you're backing out, trying to keep it at bay with the light?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you are managing, you notice that it's kind of just outside that range as you are backing away and everybody else is moving away from the wreck. But as it sets foot on the rocks outside, these massive bat-like wings unfurl from behind it, and you all feel just the heat of wind as it sweeps the wings forward. They're also covered in this electric blue fire.
What intonation is
And
this?
it takes off and flies upwards. I'm going to need James and Virgil to both make stability tests.
Nope.
I mean, in all fairness, Brian, that is a significant escalation from a weird snake-like thing inside the thing. So I'll make them as well, be like. But...
No. You've already seen it.
Okay, fine.
Do you just roll on stability? Oh no.
So click on stability. It'll ask you if you want to spend any points, and then you can roll. Okay. So, you're fine. Virgil, on the other hand, loses 6 stability.
Oh,
Wow.
ouch.
Yes.
Where's that put Virgil?
That puts Virgil at 0.
Okay, so Virgil also, is shaken by the sight, loses 1 point of sanity.
Nice.
And this thing flies up. And if any of you bother to watch as it flies upwards. No, Alistair's not watching?
I think Virgil is transfixed by this thing. I think he's frozen in terror.
I'm watching it with my gun.
So as it flies up, it continues to rise, and you notice that above it are probably 5 or 6 more blue lights.
Oh, that's
circling.
So we are leaving.
Jake. Probably should have had you do this before. Why don't you make a health test for me? Because in Trail of Cthulhu, you can actually test your health. It's not just health.
I'm going to test it without any spends. And I'm glad I didn't spend because it wouldn't have made a difference anyways.
Okay. Your hand starts to feel a little itchy.
Ooh.
The box.
I'm gonna rub it against my clothes very quickly and what's good for itchy hands? I don't happen to have any mustache wax on me, do I?
I don't know. That's your call. Mustache wax you could probably have in your pocket.
Roll preparedness.
So you're all moving away from the wreck at this point?
Yeah.
Well, except for Virgil, who's transfixed for the moment.
Yeah, I think he might be stepping back, but he's looking at this thing in awe, eyes wide.
Sir, we need to leave. We need to leave.
Okay. Are you guys doing anything else?
Are we? I've got the box. Are we taking the box? Or are we just going?
Yeah, we'll take the box with a curious fist-sized jewel indent inside it. If anyone was interested, we might have a fist-sized jewel
With a curious fist-sized jewel.
And maybe I'll just take the jewel and put it in there, perhaps. But I don't know if we're at that point yet.
Yeah.
Are you not?
I don't know. Are we running towards the truck still? Are we running away from horrible things? Or
so as you are running away, if any of you think to look back, these things are following.
You got the crystal.
We've come for the box. Let's go and get the box. It's going to take a few of us to carry it, and then you can think about putting the crystal in it.
One of you could probably carry the box easily enough. It's just too heavy for a child. I mean, not easily. Like, it would be work for you to carry it. Two of you holding each side of it would be easier.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so what do? You've got the box. You're heading back towards your truck.
Yep.
Okay, you get to the truck, and these things are flying around, heading your direction.
So why did they follow Eustace? That's what I don't understand.
Eustace didn't take the job. Well, we don't know. Who knows? I'm climbing onto the back. It's like a flatbed, isn't it, this thing?
Yes.
So Virgil is just climbing onto the back of that without any thought. And he's urging whoever is driving to go.
Yeah, well, that would be me, as long as we have like most everybody in there, I guess.
Oh yeah, getting in quick. Yeah.
So you all get in the truck and start driving back towards the Grissom estate?
Yeah. Bring these things back to them.
Yeah.
So I think in the car we could probably put it in the box if we have the presence of mind.
If they're following the box, we can just chuck it up a cliff.
I don't know what they're following, but we've got to examine. We've got to study this thing further. I mean, there was a whole cult devoted to crystals like this.
So the box, to be clear, the box no longer has a lock and the latch is broken.
But we've got rope. We can take rope over them.
Okay. But so are you putting the crystal in the box?
Yeah, I'll put the crystal in the box if we have the presence of mind that we're able to do that, for sure. Putting it together, close it.
So as you drive, these things are following. You're pretty sure, like I said, there's at least 6 of them now that are following your truck as you drive down the road towards the Grissom estate. Virgil is in the back. Is anybody else in the back?
I'll be in the back.
Okay.
I'll be in the back as well, probably reading the book or looking at the book that I've got.
Okay.
I'm in the passenger seat.
So the book is written in... Do you speak any languages?
No, don't think so.
No. So let's see what the book is written in real quick. There. Show me my notes. They're there. Okay, so it is actually written in English. Most of it, as you're flipping through, it's waterlogged. It is largely unreadable. But in one section, as you're flipping through, one readable section, you see something about a shining stone. In another section, you see a stone being referred to as the Eye of Thoth Hermes, aka thrice great Hermes Trismegistus, the Hellenistic deity of esoteric knowledge. That's written kind of in the margins. And it also says something about the stone. It urges that the stone be kept in the casket of darkness.
Put the stone in the box!
So, as you put the stone in the box, and as you're driving away, these things start diving towards the truck. And it's clear that each of these lights individually is another one of these things as they begin to swoop down on the truck, heading towards the open back.
Shine your lights! Shine your torches on it! Shine your torches on it! They don't like the light! They don't like the light!
As Dr. Warburton slams the lid of the box closed on the gem, those things that are swooping towards the truck just dissipate into mist.
Wow.
Where'd they go?
Why'd everybody stop screaming all of a sudden?
As you continue to drive towards the Grissom beach house, you hear a horrible crack, and again a rent of steel and metal, and you're fairly certain that the ship has fallen from its perch on the rocks and crashed to the beach and the waves below.
Did we leave anybody behind? I'm just doing a mental count. Do we have everybody back there? Was anybody in the ship?
Maybe Virgil's friend.
Yeah, somebody that was throwing a barrel.
As you pull
That
up
was exciting, wasn't it?
As you pull up to the Grissom estate, you notice there is a new vehicle parked out front. Two, in fact.
Ooh.
And standing by one of the vehicles are two men, both holding what looked to be, to anyone who would know, Lee Enfield rifles. And they raise those rifles towards your truck as you turn onto the drive. And I think that's where we'll stop for today.
Oh!